because of Copley Square and the reality of what it is. But anyway, I've loved Dillon's genius for a very long time. I've hosted a number of things for Dillon over the years, kind of a return of his first genius record called Almanac, concerts of his, concerts of other people doing his songs, a house concert, and now we get to hear him live on Zoom for the first time. No, he's done a couple of online concerts before, but first time from here at Community Church. So folks, welcome Dillon Bustin. Dillon, we're honored and glad to have you with us. We love you.
Thank you, Dean. I'll try to cover some requests tonight, and so happens mostly about Henry David Thoreau and Joshua Slocum. But I will get around to some other folks later. Here's a song for springtime and birthdays. A pleasant morning, such a day is truce to vice, as an infant born proves a man may be born twice. While such a sun does burn, while sinners may return. So if your neighbor is a drunkard or a thief, just you let him labor in the sunshine like a leaf. What though his rind is rotten, his faults are all forgotten. The gentle rains expand with joy his debauched veins. I love to see that nature is so rife with life, myriads can be afforded to be sacrificed. Those tadpoles gobbled up by the herons as they sup. A wise man sees a universal innocence in how tenderly are squashed out of their existence those tortoises and toads we run over in the road. March brings the flood because it's raining flesh and blood. One day in April, I heard a singular rattling sound as a slight and graceful soaring hawk did tumble down. It sported in the air like a kite was falling there, an ethereal flight. I never witnessed such a sight. The sky so pure and bright, all things must live in such a light. On the first day of spring, oh death, where is thy sting? Oh grave, where is the victory you do crave? By early May, the landscape brightens with the trees, even cloudy days, the maples, oaks, and hickories show that the sun insists on breaking through the mists. And very soon, methinks I hear a whippoorwill on the pondaloon, and she winks at my windowsill. The Phoebe comes once more and hovers by my door. The seasons pass like rambles into higher rest. I wonder if I could ask some people to fill in over here, because I'm aware of all these people on here and I want to address them.
Okay.
But I'm also aware of this camera over here.
Okay.
So I'm singing to a patch of bare floor. Thank you. A pleasure to sing for you. Thank you, Sam. Very well. This is a house that I built. This is a man who lives in the house that I built. These are the folks who worry the man who lives in the house that I built. I have 3 chairs in my house. 1 for solitude, 2 for friendship, 3 for society. But in my room we are so near, I cannot begin to hear these self-styled reformers. Men with one idea, like a hen with 1 chick, and that one a duckling, the greatest boors of all, who think that I am forever singing. This is the house that I built. This is the man who lives in the house that I built. These are the folks who worry the man who lives in the house that I built. And children come a-burying with poet philosophers, fishermen, hunters, railroad men on a Sunday walk. All honest pilgrims come to the woods. I am ready to greet like that simple-minded pauper. These were his words. I'm deficient in intellect, metaphysical. I have reared at a fellow man on such a promising ground. This is the house I built. There's a man that lives in the house that I built. These are the folks who worry the man who lives in the house that I built. And one runaway slave who listened from time to time for the hounds of baying. I help towards the northern star. A man may sit as many risks as ever he might run. And who should come this morning? That French Canadian wood chopper, such animal exuberance. He tumbles down and rolls on the ground when anything tickles him. This is a house that I built. This is the man who lives in the house that I built. These are the folks who worry the man who eats in the house, sleeps in the house, reads in the house that I built. Oh. By request. Walden Pond is the earth's eye. and its iris the color of water on sand. The eyelashes, the trees it is fringed by, and the brows, the hills that around it stand. Who could live into that face and measure the depths of their nature there? Oh, who would ever change that place that breathes the clouds into the air? I can come no nearer to God and heaven than I already live to Walden even. For it seems I am the stony shore. I am the breeze that passes o'er. In the hollow of my hands are its waters and its sands. And remember that its deepest resort lies high, high in my thought. Oh, many men have been likened to her, who pretend to be so clear and true. But few there are who deserve the honor. When I ask them, Walden, is that you? Save one fisherman so wise, with whom I share my boat becalmed, and I would wish to philosophize in harmony as he hums a song. Oh, Walden Pond is the earth's eye, and its iris the color of water on sand. The eyelashes, the trees it is fringed by, and its brows the hills that around it stand. Look into that face and measure the divination there. Oh, who would ever change that place that breathes the cloud into the air? I worked on that song cycle with Gray Larson, who did all the scoring and arrangements, and who played the flute on the recording.
And who is right now?
Hello, Gray. This was 1992 when we were working it up, and everything in Concord was very controversial because that was when the mega office park was proposed right next to Walden. And Don Henley was talking about buying the whole thing. And somebody on the board of the Thoreau Society got us an appointment with the president about sponsoring a performance in Concord. And she was a lady. I won't mention her name, but she had never married. And she referred to the man as Henry and acted as if he were her boyfriend. And was very, very defensive and protective about any kind of adaptation. So we did get a meeting with her, and she said, well, if Henry had wanted to compose for musical theater, he would have composed for musical theater. But he didn't, did he? So after she passed away, the Thoreau Society sponsored an engagement. I said, well, he played the flute and he liked to sing and he loved to step dance, you know. But I could see her point. I think this little miniature is verbatim out of all of them. I haven't checked that, but I think it is. I am no more lonely than the loon on the pond that laughs so loud. I am no more lonely than a dandelion or a mullein in the pasture, or a bean leaf or sorrel, or the North Star, or the south wind, or a humble bee. I am no more lonely than the millbrook, or a weathercock, or the North Star, or the south wind, or an April shower, or a January thaw, or the first spider in a new house. Let us dispense with the applause, okay? That's all right.
All right.
We'll do it as a piece. Here we know, of course, Thoreau said he would speak a word for nature. And in many of my pieces, my community theater pieces, I have actually put words into the mouths of animals. So I'd like to do just a few of those for you. Starting with one actually from the point of view of a plant. This is called Just a Little Shoot, and it's from a play we did in Nauset called The Play of Youth, which I did with 8th graders. And the premise that the school wanted was all the characters in the play who had songs were supposed to be adolescent children from history, real people from history. So this song is from the point of view of a woman named Mercy Prince. And after the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth, the next governor after William Bradford was Thomas Prince. And he thought it would be a good idea to move the whole colony out to the outer Cape, to Nauset, where they had very first landed. I guess the Nauset Indians had some corn growing out there, so we thought it would be a good place to develop agricultural fields with, you know, plowing and livestock and everything. Terrible idea. The topsoil eroded within 3 years, and they all moved back towards Plymouth. But in that meantime, Mercy received a sapling that was planted in a shoe. It came over on a supply boat, and it was a little parachute. So she planted it, and it lived for over 200 years. And all the pears on the outer Cape are from that tree. But also there was one graft of it that was planted in Harvard Yard, into college, Harvard College Yard. And that lived there into the 1930s. So I guess when Thoreau was at Harvard, that pear tree was growing in the yard that had been planted by Mercy Prince. I am just a little shoot, from my bud down to my root, carried far across the sea, all in a leather boot, to see if I will bear fruit. Oh, in this foreign land, in the Nauset sand, plant me here beside the sea, by your very hand, to see if I will bear fruit. And you must make right sure to dress me with manure, water me beside the sea, so that I may endure and see if I will bear fruit. For I am just a little shoot, from my bud down to my root, carried far across the sea, all in a leather boot, to see if I will bear fruit. Save me from the deer and the rabbits I do fear. Watch over me beside the sea for 6 or 7 years, to see if I will bear fruit. And mind ye well the cost of the briny fogs and frost. Cover me beside the sea, so that all is not lost, and see if I will bear fruit. For I am just a little shoot, from my bud down to my root, carried far across the sea, all in a leather boot, to see if I will bear fruit. And the girl who sang that came to me and said, that's a metaphor. That little pear tree is the girl. Am I right? I said, you're learning fine. That's a metaphor. You're right. She's the little shoot. So to go to the Leviathan scale, here's a song from the point of view of bowhead whales. This is from a play called Frozen In, about the winter of 1898, when the entire New England whaling fleet got stuck in the ice up above the Arctic Circle. And they were all going to freeze to death after they starved to death. So George Fred Tilton volunteered to walk to Seattle to bring help, which he did. However, this song is more from the point of view of the whales. Surface silently from below, take a breath of air. When we surface, we never know when the hunters will be there. For the hunters are coming soon, they'll not be satisfied with their whaleboats and their harpoons until the last bowhead has tried to surface silently from below. Breathe both in and out. We can hide behind the floes, make a bowhead spout. For the hunters are coming soon, they'll not be satisfied with their whaleboats and their harpoons until the last bowhead has tried to surface silently from below. Try to get some sleep. We can hide behind the floes, till we dive back to the deep. For the hunters are coming soon, they'll not be satisfied with their whaleboats and their harpoons until the last bowhead has tried to surface silently from below. Surface silently from below. Surface silently from below. La 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 la. That was a good project. And now heath hens. There was a series of years in the 90s where I was hired by every school district on Martha's Vineyard in turn to do a play in their schools. And so Oak Bluffs wanted a play about heathcocks and heath hens. Heath hens were a species of grouse that had existed on Martha's Vineyard. It was the last place on the East Coast where there was a population very closely related to the prairie chicken. But they finally became extinct. They dwindled away in the 1920s, and the last one died right around 1930 or 1931. And his name was Booming Ben. And he had become a tourist attraction because he was the last one, you know. And so the mating grounds of heath hens are called leks, L-E-K-S, which is a Danish word, I believe. And so the males would get out there and strut around and do their testosterone dance and try to impress the women. So this is a song for Booming Ben.
What grade did you do that one for?
Well, the heath hens were third grade. And they were all fitters. Everybody after that. And by the way, there was an attempt in Congress. This was the first attempt to save an endangered species in the United States. And it was called a bill to provide aid to the heath hens. But a Southern senator thought they were saying heathens, American Indians. And he said, I'll be damned if I'll appropriate a dime to save heathens. No, it's a chicken. Hey, look at me, boys, I'm a beautiful sight. In the morning light, I am ready to fight. I am Ben, Booming Ben. Hey, look at me now with my cocky display. You better get out of my way. I'm the king of the day. I am Ben, Booming Ben. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself on Ben, Booming Ben. Hey, look at me now, I've been eating the flowers. My air sacs are full of the power. I'm the king of the hour. I am Ben, woman, Ben. Hey, look at me now. I got plenty of hands. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Following me again. I am Ben, woman, Ben. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself on Ben. Woman, Ben. Boom, 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 be doom, Ben. Woman, Ben. I should explain, these birds have these air sacs on the side of their necks that they inflate during their courtship dance, and they're bright orange or all the way to yellow. But the color of the air sacs depends on the flowers that they've been eating, the chrysanthemums and marigolds and so on. That's where they get the pigment. So if they've been eating orange flowers, their air sacs are orange and so on. Yeah, that was, I think, probably my greatest triumph as an artist in the schools in terms of persuading kids to do stuff, because they had balloons on the side of their necks, orange and yellow balloons with wings. And they made the booming sound by blowing on Coke bottles, which of course they actually enjoyed. Yeah. I was thinking about that song about the whales until the last bowhead has tried to surface. Well, I was making up that song with fifth graders, and one of them came to me and said, that line about until the last bowhead has died, I think we should change that until the last bowhead has tried. Because if we say died, it might be traumatic for some of the younger kids. Like third grader. So I'll sing a song from the point of view of dolphins. This is from the Slocum material. Oh, human beings, why did they leave the sea? And by the way, there is a theory that humans, at a certain point in their evolution on the savanna in Eastern Africa, actually went back to the water and became aquatic for about 300,000 years, which is how we acquired a lot of our characteristics that distinguish us from other primates, like hairlessness, a layer of subcutaneous fat. We do not have a row of nipples all up and down both sides of our bellies. We just have one nipple up here, like aquatic mammals, like otters and seals. And some people are born with webbed fingers. You put the evidence all together, it's very convincing. But this woman named Elaine Morgan published a book called The Aquatic Ape, which was just slammed by anthropologists. They hated that idea. And just very gradually, it's become accepted. Not that humans went back and became aquatic mammals, but that they basically lived along the tidal zone and were in the water a lot for a long, long time. So the dolphins know this, of course. That's what this song is about. Human beings, why did they leave the sea? They obviously love to be out here with you and me, to spend their days in the wind and waves without a hat or shoe, and go cavorting in the spray the way that dolphins do. Oh, human beings once slithered up on land. Then they had to grow these ugly feet and heads and hands. They work like fools to make the tools to gratify their greed. There are basic needs of life that they have never solved. They cannot see what lies ahead by whistling out of their forehead, cannot dive down underneath, catch their dinner in their teeth, cannot fill their singing sacks out of a blowhole on their back. Here's a fact that is really grim. Most of them can barely swim. Oh, human beings, why did they leave the sea? Oh, human beings are definitely odd. They often go off traveling without their family pod. They fuss and fight with all their might to gratify their greed. And now they've built these steamer ships for even greater speed. If they want to look down there, they have to take a tank of air. If they want to eat a fish, they have to bring a fork and a dish. If they want to send a laugh, they have to use a telegraph. If they want to stay afloat, they have to bring some kind of boat. Oh, human beings, why did they leave the sea? But this human being is unusually smart. He seems to be quite sensitive. He has a lonely heart. He lets us glide along the side without a lot of fuss. Spends 3 hours every day just gazing down at us. He cannot see what lies ahead by whistling out of his forehead. Cannot dive down underneath, catch his dinner in his teeth. If he wants to send a laugh, he has to use a telegraph. If he wants to stay afloat, he has to keep on that sailing boat. Oh, humans, beings, why did they leave the sea? So that brings us to Joshua Slocum. When we did the Slocum shows on the vineyard, I had a part in the play, and I played the part of Eben Pierce, who introduced everything in Fairhaven. Eben Pierce is mostly famous for one thing, which is that he invented the exploding harpoon. He was the guy who figured out how to put a grenade on the tip of a lance so that if you managed to hit the whale with it, it would explode and undoubtedly kill the whale. So he was driven by the profit motive. And but locally, he's known also because he was the proponent of electric railway cars in New Bedford, and a streetcar system that would extend across the river to Fairhaven. So I was gratified to learn that Eben Pierce died because one night he left a meeting of the Chamber of Commerce in New Bedford, and walking home to Fairhaven across the bridge, he was struck from behind by the electric streetcar and killed. Oh, nothing ever happens in Fairhaven anymore. Old boats and boat builders get retired on the shore. They're propped up all over town until they tumble down. They nurse their joints and muscles, stiff and sore. Seems like nothing ever happens in Fairhaven anymore. Once Fairhaven Harbor was all filled with sailing craft. Both to port and starboard they were anchored fore and aft, and we captains never sinned by cursing at the wind. We took our chance and never cried or laughed. But that was when our harbor was all filled with sailing craft. Now welcome to the coming of the age of steam and steel. It seems this age is a-coming now, no matter that we feel. It takes something from the soul to drive a ship with coal. To disregard the weather seems unreal. But welcome to the coming of the age of steam and steel. But tell me, what will happen to these vessels made to sail? Now centuries of sailing ships must come to no avail. They're fading like a dream in this age of steel and steam, and every wooden boatyard has to fail. Oh, tell me, what will happen to these vessels made to sail? Just take as an example this old sloop out in my pasture. For 7 years she's balanced here, awaiting a disaster. She's not a total wreck, maybe needs a tight new deck, but mostly what she needs is a new master. For now, she's just an oyster boat abandoned in my pasture. Oh, nothing ever happens in Fairhaven anymore. Old ships and those skippers here get washed up on the shore. They're stranded high and dry. Their days have passed them by. They sit and wonder what their lives were for. And that's why nothing ever happens in Fairhaven anymore. Thank you. Should I sing Old Man in the Moon?
Yeah, yeah.
There are people there in this audience, and plenty of people in the audience at home who have covered these songs and performed them and recorded them with sparkling arrangements. So it's a little awkward to sing Old Man in the Moon in front of Daisy Nell and Stan Collins. This is about the night that Slocum, who had left from Fairhaven, gone to Boston, gone to Nova Scotia where he had been raised. He left Nova Scotia and headed out across the North Atlantic, intending to hit the Azores. And the Spray, was about 36 feet long, little sailboat. He said he felt like an insect on a straw in the midst of the elements. And so to cheer himself along, he started singing old Methodist hymns, which were not doing it for him, like Babylon Has Fallen. But then the moon rose up over the surface of the ocean, a full moon, and that actually comforted him. And he settled down and sailed around the world. Old man in the moon, I'm glad to see you now. I thought that you were Neptune, come climbing over my bow. Old man in the moon, lighting up the skies. If I name the tune, would you kindly harmonize? My memory works with startling power. I recall every day and every hour, every face and every voice, every time I made a choice. Old man in the moon, all alone at sea. Don't you set this new, stay and keep me company. You want to come up? Old man in the moon, lighting up the skies. I fear I'll be marooned. Come on and slightly harmonize. My memory works with startling power. I recall every day and every hour, every face and every voice, every time I made a choice. Old man in the moon, I'm all alone at sea. Don't you set too soon, stay and keep me company. Stay and keep me company. Old man in the moon, old man in the moon. Okay, I mangled that. I'm not going to sing any more songs I haven't rehearsed.
It's not right. You wrote it. You didn't mangle it. You wrote a masterpiece.
Well, so let me bring a woman into this picture. I'd like to sing a couple of poems by Emily Dickinson. Or at least one. She was really the birth of modern poetry, her and Walt Whitman. And by the way, she did have a dog. I started early, took my dog and visited the sea. The mermaids in the basement came out to look at me, and frigates in the upper air extended hempen hands, presuming me to be a mouse aground upon the sands. And no man moved me till the tide would pass my simple shoe, past my bodice and past my apron and my belt, and past my bodice too, and made as he would eat me up, as wholly as they do upon a dandelion stem. And then I started to, but he followed close behind. I felt his silver heel upon my shoes, and then my slippers overflowed with pearl, until we met the solid town. No one he seemed to know, and bowing with a mighty look at me, the sea withdrew. Now, I read that first. I said, girl, you need to get a sexual relation with somebody or something. That is such an erotic poem, you know, about her slipper overflowing with pearl. No man moved me till the tide moved past my simple shoe, past my apron and my belt, and past my bodice too. Made as he would eat me up. Dang. Okay. So she was in love, you know. She had a literary, he wasn't exactly an agent or publisher, but he was an advocate who really encouraged her. And his name was Thomas Wentworth Higginson. He lived in Boston. And of course, she was in Amherst. So they never met for years and years. They just corresponded. But she was clearly in love with him. And he finally wrote and said he would come out and visit her. And then at the last minute, he had to send a telegram saying that he was detained, he wasn't able to come. You can imagine that. If you were coming in the fall, I'd brush the summer by with half a smile and half a spurn, as housewives do a fly. If you were coming in a year, I'd wind the months in balls and put them each in separate drawers, for fear the numbers fused. If only centuries remained, I'd count them on my hands, subtracting till my fingers dropped into Van Diemen's land. In certain when this life was out, that yours and mine could be, I'd toss it yonder like a rind and take eternity. But now, uncertain of the length of this that is between, it goads me like a goblin bee that will not state its sting. She always called bumblebees goblin bees. And actually, I was sweeping the porch the other day and there was a bumblebee flying around me. And I thought of that poem because, you know, what she's saying is she wants the bee to sting her. Come on, what's the hold up? You will not state your sting. Come on. But it wasn't going to happen for her. I think she did eventually meet Higginson. E. Cummings? Anybody? This is a poem about the Depression. I pictured two hobos, but I'm reading into that. I don't know. If you can't eat, you got to smoke, and we ain't got nothing to smoke. Come on, kid, let's go to sleep. Mm-mm. 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 If you can't smoke, you got to sing, and we ain't got nothing to sing. Come on, kid, let's go to sleep. Mm, 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 mm. If you can't sing, you got to die, and we ain't got nothing to die. Come on, kid, let's go to sleep. Mm, 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 mm. If you can't die, you got to dream, and we ain't got nothing to dream. Come on, kid, let's go to sleep. Mm, 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 mm. If you can't dream, you got to eat, and we ain't got nothing to eat. Well, I'll do another Cummings. This is very well known, I think, of all of Cummings' poems. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirit of trees, and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything that is natural, that is infinite, that is yes. I who have died am alive again today. This is the sun's birthday, birthday of life and of truth and love, and of that great happening illimitably. Earth. How could tasting, hearing, seeing, breathing, any lifted from the no of all nothings? Human merely breathing doubt, unimaginable you. Now the ears of my ears awake. Now the eyes of my eyes are open. It's mystical. So I think I'll close out my set with a song I wrote for my girlfriend many long years ago. Starlight, star bright, the last star that I'll see tonight. I'm asking you, shine on me, impeccable speck of eternity. Lying here on my bed, the branches outside are worn and dead. I don't mind the empty trees. They allow me to see an eternity of starlight. Star bright, the last star that I'll see tonight. I'm asking you, shine on me, impeccable speck of infinity. And where's that one? Lives down the block. I wait for her footsteps and quiet knock. If she comes, perhaps then I might have the wish that I wish tonight by starlight. Star bright, the last star that I'll see tonight. I'm asking you, shine on me, impeccable speck of sincerity. I know why nightingales sing, why the lunar moth takes wing, but I have never ever quite learned the starfish's deep delight in starlight. Star bright, last star that I'll see tonight. I'm asking you, shine on me, impeccable speck of simplicity. I got to go.
Can you do one more? Do you remember Teach Me Your Mood? Oh.
Okay. I think, my voice is about give out, but
We'll help.
just for you, Daisy.
And
Yeah, we'll help.
Yeah.
You're right.
This is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. I didn't really get into Emerson tonight, but from the age of 60 on, he just started drifting away into dementia and eventually became quite afflicted with probably Alzheimer's disease. To the point where he was taken to Longfellow's funeral, and they had never really gotten along. They'd been quite rivals, and Emerson thought that he was too facile and too much of a popularizer and knew too many languages. I don't know, but he looked down at the casket and he goes, "Who is the sleeper? Like, who is sleeping?" And then he was confused. He didn't even realize he was at a funeral. And then he'd been over farther and he looked right in his face and he recognized him. And he said, he had a beautiful soul. So, yes, reconciled at the last minute. But so as he lost his mind, he really lost the ability to write essays or prose of any kind, long poems. Gradually, if he turned the page of his notebook, poem would be reduced to a single quatrain, and then he could just write couplets, and then he could just write single lines. So this is not actually an Emerson poem, but from his manuscript notebooks, I compiled these little fragments from the very end of his ability to write at all.
Come on, Bill. Make him reappear, please.
He's frozen on YouTube as well, so something jammed at the source.
What are your friends if you want?
Okay, he's back, but he's muted.
Oh, Dillon Bustin, when will you come back to us? We cannot live one more minute without hearing the sound of your voice. Oh, Dillon Bustin, please come back right away.
I agree with you.
Dillon Bustin, please come back and sing. Please, we're begging you, your friends. Oh, Dillon Bustin, please come back and sing. You don't have to play a guitar. You just have to sing. Dillon.
Oh, Dillon Bustin, please return, we cry. Oh, Dillon Bustin, won't you please reply? Oh,
Shanty, zoom in, press me that mute.
Hey, Miss, can you do the voiceover?
Were we muted? Are we muted now? Are we unmuted? Could you not hear us at all that whole time? This is our gift to Dillon from Community Church and from me in particular, because I took 15 trips in my car and moved all these books over here, including an enormous collection of beautiful art books. And there's 2 copies of this. This is Paul Strand, Time in New England, and beautiful texts. It's a lot of mid-19th century texts from the likes of Emerson and Thoreau and Governor William Bradford, a little earlier than mid-19th century. New England's First Fruits, 1643, London. Captain Edward Johnson, Wonder-working Providence of Sion's Savior, London. The Reverend Roger Williams. I just thought of you, Dillon, when I saw this book. It's just a really beautiful paper and the wonderful prints of photographs of Paul Strand. I think of you. Thank you, Dillon.
Thank you, Dave.
We're gonna see if we can get people to say hello. Let's see what we got. And I hope we can get the sound as well. Sound of the TV. Let's try it. TV. Oh, how about a guy named Ian Brownell?
Ian.
Hi.
oh,
in Zoom are trusting, may no more hear from Dillon Bustin.
Chuck smiling down there.
Is that David wanting to do a song? David!
See, no, it wasn't you.
No, that was not me. No.
All right, David, how about your song? How about your tribute to Dylan? You got that on your head?
Well, just a line or two. A curious lad with curious ways grew up in Indiana in the middle of the 20th century, in the middle of a broad savanna, which he told me it was not. And though he loved the grassy plains, for the ocean he was lusting, he said one day I'll sail the sea, and his name was Dillon Bustin. Great show, Dylan. Thank you. Unbelievable bunch of material there that I've never heard. It's just amazing stuff. Thank you.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Hey!
Ah.
Yay! Jerry! Hi. Oh, can they say, can they talk? Look at Jerry.
they freeze?
Does Jerry have a?
Does Jerry have a wig on?
No, it says he does. Oh, it's so good to see Susie. Can they say?
Can you say something? Susie, are you there?
Hi, everybody. Hi. Wow. I mean, that was a real, like David said, there was a lot of new tunes, the sort of the dolphin songs and the what I think I may have heard the Leviathan song about silently surfacing, but oh, on and on. Sometimes you got to cry a little bit, and you just also got to smile a lot. And well, gosh, Dylan, thank you so much, and thank you, Dean.
And now we got Alban. Hello, Alban. What's happening?
Bonsoir, messieurs, dames. Je parle en français. Merci, Dylan. Merci à vous tous d'être ici ce soir. Yes,
I will do
thank you.
simultaneous interpretation. Alban thinks you're all very good looking and kind, and he's so pleased to be among us.
Merci pour la traduction, cher madame.
That's great.
Oh, there's Jerry.
Cindy and Ray.
Hi. It's so fun to see people.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey Dylan, hi Dean, hi everybody here. Hey
Hey.
Zooms.
Dylan, you're the reason I'm in Bloomington, Indiana myself. You were the one who lured me to this wonderful place and where I spent most of my life. So,
Yes, and then I abandoned you.
right, that's right.
Dylan, you're the reason I'm in Bloomington, Indiana.
And you're also the reason that Cindy and I are together. We met in
Yes.
Eric's studio when you were
At Eric's recording
at Eric's studio when you were recording the Emerson project, and that's when the first sparks started to fly.
Oh my God.
What was the song?
It was the trio, Ellen and Michael and I were recording some backups for Emerson.
Right, but I remember Gray coming in to sing bass
Yeah,
on some
Goodbye Proud World.
Oh yeah.
Goodbye Proud World.
Right?
Yes.
We needed a bass, and we thought that we could use another part, and I turned around and I pointed at Gray, and how about you?
I was in the right place at the right time because of you, Dylan.
And Goodbye Proud World and hello Gray and Cindy.
And memorable bass line, if I say so myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Dylan, that was just gorgeous. I could just sit and listen to you sing really literally for years.
Yes, me too.
Just your stories are just captivating.
Yes.
I love the ones that you wrote with the kids.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cindy. Coming from you.
And here's
You know,
here's Bill.
Hey. I love that, Dylan. That was great. What an amazing
under the radar collection of songs. I was hoping perhaps for what's as happy as a clam at high, as a hog at high, no, as a clam at high tide, nothing but a hog at low tide. I was hoping for that little medley, but I can do that in my head too. So, it was really great. It's really great to see you again, and just a wonderful show. And I love coming to these concerts. Dean, you really created something here, because we get to be this community once a week, and to see all of these individuals in a way that we don't when we're at Swans Island, because each person takes like a song or two during the parties and on stage, and here we really get to macerate in the Dillon Bustin juices and in the David Dodson juices and in macerate.
Marinate.
Like marinade.
Chop up.
Macerate.
He did say that.
We're having a vocabulary lesson, Bill.
Yeah. A very carefully pronounced verb. Let's see.
Isn't that a word? Isn't that what you make the meat sit in juices to cook for a period of time?
And is there any difference between the two words?
Yes, it doesn't matter though.
Okay, all right. I want to also pick up this laptop and move it. Hey, what's happening? It's not.
Hey everybody, it's Mary Kate. I'm afraid I interrupted Alban, who was probably going to speak in English eventually. And so Alban, pardonne-moi. Alors, mon ami.
No, I have nothing to say. I'm sure Douglas, though, has something interesting to say.
I have nothing to say in English. Alban, I'm sorry I didn't sing Stave and Chain.
Oh, yeah. Would you please tell us that? That's good.
Yeah, I think it's better that way.
I agree.
Oh, yeah. Is it that?
No, can't I just moved this laptop and. Oh, that's so
Dave,
funny.
Douglas Day, have you been seeing much of Dillon? I mean, are you down in West Virginia now, or what, Douglas Day?
No, I'm sitting in Rockport, Maine, Susie dear.
Good. So you see a lot of our Dillon and Martha?
Yeah.
Good. Good. Douglas Day, have you been seeing much of Dillon?
I have indeed. I make
Are you down in West Virginia now, or what, Douglas Day?
No, I'm sitting in Rockport, Maine.
I think we're hearing Dean's second laptop.
Good.
Yes.
Do you see a lot of our Dillon and Martha?
I'm on a loop. I'm on a groundhog day.
Dillon and Martha.
We're sampling.
Do you see a lot of Dillon and Martha? Answer us, Douglas Day.
Okay. That's it. Yeah. Say good night. Say good night, Grace.
I'm on a groundhog day.
Sampling.
You see a lot of Dillon and Martha.
Oh, the spring. All alone I say, hey.
There we go. We're with unbeknownst to us, it went to a different camera, and we had no control over anything, which has been the rule here tonight. Total video anarchy. Anyway, we want to thank everybody for being here. Let's give one last round of applause to Dillon. And I wanted to move the laptop so you could see who was here live in person, but I'll tell you before I try again, maybe we're in control, but it's Daisy and Stan, it's Susie and George, and Jacqueline Schwab, and Edmund Robinson, and Jennifer, and Martha, and Dean
Sam Brown.
and Sam Brown with us. And I want to thank Eric Kilburn for being behind the controls, having no control whatsoever, just like me. And Amar Ahmad, who is also providing us technical assistance. And Charlie Welch out there, another tech guru. You would think that with that many gurus, we would figure this out. But no, we're still glad we brought you all together. We love you, Dillon Bustin, and we'll see you all later. We declare the meeting at the building to be soon over, all over this world. Hallelujah. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
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 Last summer.
There, Wayne.